Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 100. How about that, Alex? 100 episodes. Kind of wild. How did we get here? I don't know. We'll talk about it. Crazy. On this MLK Day, exciting basketball that, well, was a flop for both of our teams. The New York Knicks got crushed by the Hornets at Madison Square Garden, while the Brooklyn Nets folded late versus the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland. So, Alex, Mike, how are you?
Doing all right. Tough game today. They just didn't have it from the beginning. Miles Bridges had just an incredible first half where he's just hitting
28.
Yeah, like he ended up with only maybe 38, I think.
35.
35? I don't know. I think it was 38.
Was it 38?
Wrong, actually.
Okay.
You're wrong.
No,
I know. You're trying to Coonies me. I get it, but I think you're wrong. He was just on fire. And, the Knicks were just lazy on defense. They weren't hitting shots. It was 38?
It was 38.
Oh, see, you tried to 32 degrees me, and it didn't work.
Not this time. I was wrong.
No.
I admit it. I was wrong.
It's not freezing if it's not 32 degrees. You can't say it.
I was wrong.
Anyway,
I was wrong.
No, it was a good game for the Hornets. You go into the game, LaMelo's not playing because he's hungover, and you're thinking like, oh, this is great. We have, but they have Rozier, who's a good, quality point guard. And, when Miles Bridges plays like that and Knicks can't hit a shot, that's what you're going to get, So I don't know. Did you catch any of the game?
Yeah, no, I saw it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I loved watching them get their ass kicked. I mean, that for me was enjoyable. It makes this net loss. Well, I won't say not as bad, but it just, I don't want to go that far. That was really disappointing, but I do enjoy it when the Knicks lose, and I'm proud to admit it. Yes, when the Knicks lose, it makes me feel better because I don't like them and they're annoying. So whatever. Yeah. It is what it is. I know people worry about the Nets. I am. Trust me. And no Kevin Durant for the first time since the injury. 4 to 6 weeks he's out. We'll see how long that really is. Just thankful it's just a sprain, and that's going to Cleveland and have issues at the end of this game. I mean, we could get into the details of some Nash rotations in the end. Nets were up 4, subbed out Kyrie Irving, went to this bizarre lineup. It did not work. Nets never recovered. And there was a little bit of a scare at this point in this game as well when James Harden got a knee go into his quad, and you're thinking hamstring. Here we go again. Everything with Durant, and it sucks right now. I mean, I've told you this, Alex. To be a Net fan right now is not good. It's not. No, it's not a fun time.
Harden kicking it out to Edwards for 3 in the corner, and the last minute and a half is not like kicking it out to Durant for 3 in the corner. It's not.
Edwards played well. I mean, he's played well, and he had a good game. But I know you. But I mean,
you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. It is reality. Although Edwards probably would be in there anyway. Anyway, the point is, I get what you're saying. No Durant. Yeah. It's a luxury that you joked about this last year. Every time the big three were about to get together, somebody would go out. Yeah, this is just bad. Again, just bad timing. Just bad timing. As Durant got hurt, and you
got to win these away games, man. You got to win these away games with Kyrie during the Durant injury. You have to, otherwise you're going to fall. You're going to fall, man.
I mean, they would fall. Yeah, and that's what's crazy about the Eastern Conference right now is it's all jumbled up, especially at the top there. Those teams are all right there, like next to each other. The Bulls, the Nets, the Sixers, the Cavs now, and
the 10-11 seed is only like 7 or 8 games out of first. The 10-11 seed or whatever it is on a 12, they're only 7-8. Sorry to cut you off. They're only like 7-8 games out of first place.
The East is ultra competitive.
Yeah, no, it is.
The East is ultra competitive, and that's what you see happens. Like, I mean, and that is a little bit scary if you're a Nets fan, right? You're 27-16, but you know that you go on a 2-game losing streak. The play-in games are there, and I don't think the Nets will fall that far, but it is scary because, Kyrie's not a guarantee every night. And that's the part. It's Harden, and the Nets have injury issues like a lot of other teams, but, no Claxton, no Joe Harris, now no Durant tonight. There was no Bembry. So these things add up, and they're playing 3 rookies a night. Thank God they've played so great. It's this regular season sucks. I just hate it. I just hate the whole thing. The whole thing sucks.
No, it does. I mean, if I know that's not realistic, so let me preface that. If I was the Nets, I would play Kyrie 48 minutes a night when he's playing. I'm the way. Just play him the entire game. Like, you have the next 2 weeks off, bro. You can play this entire game.
I know.
We need you right now. Durant's out. I know I'm being, playing 42, 44 minutes though. Come on. Like, what do you, why are you playing him? I don't even know how many you played, 38 tonight or something. I think I was looking before.
Sounds right.
What'd you say?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's just play him like crazy. Like, who cares? You don't want to take the shot, and that's your choice. That's fine. But there's consequences for your actions. And if you don't want to play your home games because you don't want to get the shot, then you better play every damn minute of these away games because we need you, especially now with Durant hurt.
Well, there's a little bit to that. I mean, first of all, he played 37 minutes, which is a lot of minutes.
That's a good amount. No, it's a good amount. But he should play 40, 44. I'm sorry. I just feel like he should keep going.
No,
I mean, we're nitpicking here. I'm nitpicking.
No. And I understand what your point is, but I think it's also a little bit of a degree of just getting his, because he hasn't played yet this season, really. So to say go out and play 44 minutes might just be physically tough. And more realistically, and you got to remember this too, like they are about to do a 4-game road trip. So he's going to play in all these games. He's not missing. Obviously, he's going to play in all the games. So you have to factor in that you don't want to burn him out. So he still played 37 of 48 is not bad. I just nitpicking the Nash substitutions at the end where he took him out. And then he went with Bruce Brown instead of Patty Mills. And it just created just a bad offensive flow. And, it just sucked. But at least they didn't lose by, they at least didn't get their ass kicked at the Garden. You could just tell, like the Knicks did not come in focused, and the Hornets walked all over them.
Yeah, the Hornets came out angry. I guess they lost their last game, and Breen was saying in the beginning of the game, the Hornets came out angry. They came out flying, and the Knicks were just like, "Whoa, it's 1:00, guys, calm down." Whoa, like relax, and they were missing some shots, and they were trying to pass it around, and just things weren't going down. I mean, they were getting open shots and open looks, and they just weren't going down. Fournier couldn't hit a shot, and they weren't playing defense, and the Hornets just couldn't miss. And it was just the perfect storm where you just had no chance. And every time they hit a shot or two, you think, all right, we're keeping up, we're going, we're here, we got this. And then the Hornets just hit a 3. It's just like, come on. And it'd be wide open. It was just the most frustrating kind of game. And it was rough. I mean, RJ Barrett has looked incredible the last, 6, 7, 8 games. I mean, he has grown up and taken a step, and he looks confident. He's not at the star level, all-star level yet, but he has definitely taken a step where he knows what he can do out on the floor, and he's going to go do it. And it's really, really exciting as a Knicks fan to see that. And the other thing that's kind of sliding under the radar there for them as well is Mitchell Robinson has also been playing incredibly well the last 4 or 5 games. He's getting double doubles, a bunch of blocks. He's back in the starting lineup. He really has been playing well. And I love Mitch because when he gets the ball around the hoop, I've talked about this a lot, 3, 4, 5 feet away, he's dunking it. He doesn't care. He's just going to try to dunk it. There's no shots. He's dunking. And I love that aggression. I love that about him. And, it's kind of tough, man. It's a tough loss, but you know what? They're at 500. They're right where they need to be. They're still in position where a nice winning streak puts them in position for the 6th seed, to get out of that play-in tournament. And today sucked, but it happens. It's why you have to win those close games against the Magic early in the season, because there's going to be games like today where you just show up and you just don't have it, and it was tough. It was tough to watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't have an overreaction like, oh my God, the world coming to an end. The Knicks didn't play well today. Mm-hmm. They came out flat, and the Hornets wanted it more. They were missing one of their stars in LaMelo, which was disappointing from my end. I wanted to watch him play. I know for your end, I get him not being there is a good thing.
I wanted to see him too, but you know what?
No, I
Happy
understand.
that he wasn't playing though. Yeah,
it's about wins, man. Like
I can watch him on NBA TV.
Yes. Right, right. And I'm rooting for the Hornets to win this game, but yeah, I wouldn't go that far for the overreaction. But that's what it's just typical with the Knicks because you get the Jekyll and Hyde of this team, right? You got Fournier one night who can had that magical night where he had 42 points, and then tonight can't make shots. I mean, that's what happens with this team because the inconsistency is there, and that's what you're going to get, and that's how the Knicks are. The Knicks are a 500 team this season because every time they take a step back, or vice versa. That's just been their calling card, and they fought to get back into this mix, but it's wild how close that is. And all these teams are just kind of the same. Like The Celtics win today, so they move up to the 10th seed. The Wizards have struggled, but they beat the Sixers today, which was a good win for them. And then you got the Hornets, who are one of the more fun younger teams. They're hovering around 7-8 in that seeding. And then Cleveland, who I had a firsthand look on today, a lot of young talent. Darius Garland is a really young, dynamic playmaking guard. Yeah. He looks great. Jared Allen's gone into like an all-star kind of center. Kevin Love gives minutes off the bench. Mobley, the rookies, he didn't have a great game, but he's there. I mean, they just have a lot of guys. And the marketing, I mean, they are deep. They're going to be a team that is going to be a pain in the ass. I could totally, and I'm kind of getting crazy here, Alex, but I'm thinking like, could the Nets drop to the 6th seed? Imagine like Knicks,
they could.
Or Nets, Cavs, and the Cavs are the 3.
They could drop. I mean, the Nets really could drop, man. You imagine Knicks Nets playing tournament game? Like, can you imagine something like that? That'd be so scary. But at the same time, I don't think that'll get to that level. But, you know, Durant is out for, you know, we haven't talked about that since the podcast, our last podcast. What is he out? 4 to 6 weeks?
4 to 6 weeks. If it really is 4 to 6 weeks. To you know, Joe Harris was 4 to 8 weeks. It's surpassed that. So who really knows?
That was going to be my point, where it's like the Nets and injury timelines is kind of like the Mets in baseball. The Mets,
it's all bullshit.
It's just Ike Davis runs into David Wright, and you never see him again. You know what I mean? It's like day to day, but see you later. You know, so it's just kind of it's kind of like that. You know, last year you brought up the Kyrie, Harden, Durant injury carousel that they had. You know, so it's kind of like, you know, you never know what's going on there. And honestly, with Durant, I wouldn't push him. I would just wait.
No, there's no need.
It's just after All-Star break, you know, like just chill, man. Just get right. You know, that's the most important. Hopefully it's not a serious injury for you guys, and you know, away you guys go. You know,
I mean, it seems like
that can play.
It seems like it's just a sprain, and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I like get him healthy, get back, take your time, do your thing. There is no need to push it. And last year the Nets, when they lost Kevin Durant, they made their big run when they had Kyrie and Harden together. They really, really work well together. And we saw that last year. Tonight came up a little bit short, but they did have some dynamic moments in the backcourt together tonight where they looked really good. Harden had the terrible pass at the end of the game. Instead of calling the timeout with 2 in the bag, they didn't need to do that. That was a bad mistake, but these two have played well together. So I'm just trying to find optimism when you know that your best player is out, that you're just saying, hey, these two work well together. Maybe Harden takes another step. And then when Durant comes back, it all sort of comes together. And I do know that the Nets are in a very good spot where they could lose Durant and they're still going to be in the mix for games. It's not like most teams lose their best player and they have no chance and they're just absolutely done.
They don't have
For
James
example,
Harden
if you're feeling this way about RJ Barrett, if he went down, how would you feel about the Knicks every night?
Terrible.
The Nets have
terrible
options. And I'm not saying they're going to win every game. They lost tonight in Cleveland. They got a tough game against Washington and then Minnesota coming up in the fourth team I'm blanking on in this little mini road trip. But they can at least don't feel like there's not a chance. And we've seen the success of Harden and Kyrie, but then the caveat is it's only road games.
Right. Well, how many road games do they have over the next 4 to 6 weeks?
It's a lot of them. It's a majority. Yeah, they're going on a stretch of a lot of road trips. Or a lot of road
west.
Games now.
Are they going west?
I don't know exactly. I haven't studied and dissected I know people are tweeting out like,
you want to do win-loss, win-loss? You want to do win-loss?
I don't, because I'm always wrong. I'm not stop win-loss. Yeah, the Nets little mini schedule. Wizards at Spurs, at T-Wolves, home Lakers, home Nuggets, at Warriors, which I'm sure Durant would have been a fun one. Not going to be there. At Suns, at Kings, at Jazz, at Nuggets. I mean, these are really tough road trip games. But again, they get Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And then the schedule's hard. Celtics at Wizards, at Heat, Kings at Knicks.
And being the Nets, you're getting everybody's best also.
Yep.
Everybody's
I've noticed
showing up
that.
For you. Yeah.
Oh, it's a weird thing seeing that. It's a very weird thing. And you just have to realize it. Like Cavs tonight, fired up. They beat the Nets. And you just kind of shrug it off. Okay.
Yeah.
The bad guys.
You're not going to get guys falling asleep on you in a night because you're the Nets. Yeah.
No, that doesn't happen.
It doesn't. You know, I just feel like the Nets are going to somehow figure it out. They always do. They're going to make a deal. Something's going to happen. They're going to just figure it out. You know, they're not going to stand pat with Durant hurt and Kyrie playing half the games. You know, they're going to make a move, you would think. And, you know, you said it recently. They need a shooter. They need Joe Harris to get back. But when is he coming back? We don't know. So,
well, there was a report today that he's taking light shooting, but he won't be playing. Well, I mean, it's at least he's shooting. He wasn't shooting before. It's a positive.
Yes, that's a good step. That's a good step. Well, Kemba Walker's been day to day for the last 8 games. So I don't know
every day's a new day. Every day is a new day.
I tweeted this out at Knicks Central like this the other day or today. I don't even know. And saying like, I think he's benched again, and they're just hiding it behind an injury. I think they don't want the PR, and they kind of just. I know he took himself out of warmups and he hurt his knee. My guy DP on Twitter reminded me about that, but I think that they're just like, you know what, just sit, and which doesn't make any sense to me because with Rose out, and he was playing well.
I can't.
Kemba's dropping 40, and it's just like, why? What are we doing here? It didn't make sense to begin with the benching, so that's why I wouldn't be surprised if something came out like that.
Man, I can't imagine that. I mean, I know Kemba Walker is the greatest guy, and he said all the right things, but that's like next level. I'm gonna just pretend. Then I can't imagine he would do that because then
why would he show up?
The competitive spirit of somebody where they're like pretend to be hurt. That's an extreme. I mean, I have a hard time believing that. Now, maybe 1 or 2 games here or there. Okay, I get that. But for this extended period of time, when he showed flashes and played really well, he had some of his best spurts of the year. What a bizarre signing that Kemba Walker has become. If you think about it, Alex, from like the excitement in the fan base to like, oh my God, we got Kemba Walker and legit being excited to starting off pretty solid to then disappearing to then getting benched to then coming back and having like electric games to then now being day to day with an injury. I can't remember a free agent signing that's just been so herky jerky and overall a disappointment, but oh my God, bizarre.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's been weird. And it's just like kind of the season of Fournier and Kemba, like they've just been up and down, sort of like Randall up and down, RJ up and down, Mitch up and down. That's equals a 500 basketball team. It's just what it is. It's just how it goes when you play like that. And all this Obi Toppin chatter as well. You want him to play. Is it him or Randall? And I don't understand why it needs to be him or Randall. Why can't they play together? They played together before. They look okay. This idea you can't play together is absurd. But he comes in, he scores like 7 points in 5 minutes or something in the first half. Like he looked good, but you know what? He makes a lot of dumb plays. He comes in the game and he shoots. He's wide open the top of the key 3, and he shoots up almost an air ball, barely grazes the rim. There's a few plays a game where you're just like, what are you doing to Obi? And like, we all love him because he gets the dunks. He's from New York. I'm not trashing Obi Toppin in any way. And I understand Randall makes a lot of head scratching plays as well, but Randall's a freaking all-star. You know what I mean? Like Obi hasn't proven anything. So you're not going to just kind of squeeze him in there in front of Randall, so it's just, why can't they play together? Why can't they figure it out? And then you have this also nugget of Cam Reddish sitting there that's just going to come in soon. And he's obviously going to play. If he's from the front office, made this big move, the fans are excited. He's going to play, so what is going on here? That's why you almost feel like another move has to be coming. It's a weird dynamic right now. And I don't know if Tibbs really is the best with minutes, passing it around and like, his rotations, you
can see the video on YouTube. You're like, I don't think, like bobbing your head left and right. I don't think he was the best with minutes. Yeah. Bobbing. Yeah, exactly. Bobbing. I don't know. It's just, it's bizarre. It's just bizarre because we all love Obi, but you know what? Obi scored whatever he scored. I might be botching the number, 7 points in 5 minutes. Let's say it was that. That doesn't mean he's going to score 85 points if you played him the whole game. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the per 36 doesn't work. It's just, it's not a real thing when that small of a sample size. So I love Obi and I want him to get in there more. And he provides a spark that the Knicks desperately needed in this game. I don't know why he disappeared basically the entire third quarter. I don't understand that. But at the same time, I see the limitations that he has in his game, and I understand some of the things he does on the court. You're just like, what are you doing? And he can't shoot. He can't shoot the 3. So if you can't shoot the 3 and you're making these dumb plays, then I don't know, man. I love Obi though, so don't get me wrong. I don't want people to twist my words like you hate Obi Toppin, but I almost get it. But then you see Cam Reddish. What are we doing with him when he comes back? I don't get it. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, well, we should mention Cam because that trade again happened last week when we were off, but now he's out for a little bit of time. And Solomon Hill, by the way, a net killer. That guy does not miss versus the Nets.
Surprised I haven't waived him yet. I'm surprised.
That guy just destroys the Nets. Oh, Never
Maybe
miss
they're
a
saving him for
shot.
the Nets game in February, and they're going to play.
Oh,
him
I'm
against the
sure
Nets.
he'll have a great game. He always does. Just awful. Just one of those guys. You know,
He's like Ennis Cantor freedom.
Oh, Ennis Cantor crushes the Nets too. Just double. If you're ever, playing any sort of daily fantasy, make sure that you use Ennis Cantor versus the Nets. Well, now
Ennis Cantor freedom.
Ennis Cantor freedom. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, the name. Yes, he did change his name. But the Reddish thing, it's take a flyer on it, see what happens. I did find it amusing, just how the Hawks fans went from this guy, he's going to crush the Knicks in the playoffs, blah, 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 to now he's just gone because of finances. And it's for the Knicks, take a chance, see what happens, roll the dice. Maybe he turns into something. If not, you move on. But, then if you have to pay him, then obviously he did such a good job that you have to come up with this kind of problem where you want to pay the guy.
Yeah. And I always talk about this too, where you want to just add talent. When you're not the best team in the NBA, just add talent. Don't worry about fit. Just keep adding players. Just keep getting the talent and let the best talent win out the rotation. And that's it. Keep going and let's see what happens. And Reddish loves, they're friends. I don't know how close they are, but they're friends from college. And, you also have the chess move idea of Zion down the road, who needs to play first before we get there. I was just joking around with that thread, even though it just kind of makes a lot of sense, that he's the chess move next piece, the CAA connection and the draft lottery getting whisked out of the room because he was mad he didn't get picked by the Knicks. And, all the connections with him and quickly were friends and high school roommates on their road trips, on their travel teams, or whatever kind of games they were. So there's a lot of connections there. But at the same time, that's for 2 years, that's down the road. But right now, Cam Reddish is going to play. Like, you don't make this move. I know it wasn't a big blockbuster deal. You traded Kevin Knox in a second round pick, which is incredible for Cam Reddish. And we talked about this a lot also on the show where, the only way I'd be okay with a trade is if it's for nothing, where Miles Turner, if you're going to get me Miles Turner, okay, you're going to give me a Derrick Rose kind of trade, which is what this was with Cam Reddish. It's the same deal. It's the same deal where it's just, Dennis Smith Jr. in a second round pick for Derrick Rose. And so this is Kevin Knox in a second round pick for Cam Reddish and Solomon Hill. And, it's just, right. Well, it was the protected Charlotte Hornets pick. So it's not a second round pick, but it could be, so it just, if it doesn't hit that protection, it gets punted down to the next year. Remember that was the draft day trade that I didn't understand. Why did it just take a pick? Obviously they got it, Cam Reddish out of it, but at the same time, if you got Cam Reddish for this deal, you could have gotten him without that pick. You know what I mean? If you really wanted it, in my opinion, but he's going to play, and that's my opinion. What do you think about that? You think they're going to shoehorn him into the rotation?
He's definitely good. Well, I know I saw Tibbs' comment that he's going to have to earn the minutes and do all of that stuff, and I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, there probably will be some sort of that, but also he's going to play. I mean, he's going to be out there. He's going to get a chance, and he's going to see. We'll see what he can do. I'll be fascinated to watch it. From watching him a little bit, he's just, man, when his three is on, he's looking solid, but just so streaky so far, and that's why the Hawks, could never commit to it and then felt like they were in this position. Remember, he was the guy they got in the deal when they traded Luka Doncic and they got back Trae Young. They got the extra pick and they took it and they made it Cam Reddish. So from their end, I mean, it's a disappointment that they had to trade him and that they had to deal him away because that was the other piece. And it just didn't work out. And he was solid in college. He was part of that trio. And it's normal to think that. My honest reaction is I think Zion will be a Knick. I think eventually he will be. Like when you read the tea leaves and then you look back on it, it all makes sense. And then it all comes together. Like if you were to say Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant could never be Nets. And then when you look back and you see all the things that happened and the dominoes go, makes sense. So, I mean, clearly Zion hates it where he is.
Yeah.
And
he's not even rehabbing
going well. And it's, I would expect him to be a Knick. I really would.
The last time I heard about a player not rehabbing with his team was Porzingis when he was rehabbing in Latvia. He's away from the team. We all downplayed it. He doesn't, it's fine. He just likes to be home. He just wants to be there. We didn't believe it. And then it makes sense looking back. Like, he demanded a trade. So then Nick said, get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? So it just, who the hell are you? Kind of a thing. So it's just, it all makes sense, but like I said, it's all conspiracy theories at this point. It's 2 years down the road to worry about that, and we'll think about that then. And as of right now, I'm just worried about this team and what's going to happen if things start to falter. I mean, we're starting a shooting guard at point guard. That's the other thing that we're not talking about. a lot. Alec Burks is not a point guard, and this team, he does run the offense, okay, but it's generally RJ or Randall bringing the ball up and running the offense. He's just, camping out by the 3-point line, trying to get that shot. And when that extra guy doesn't get hot, the Knicks have a game like today. Randall and RJ did okay. They I don't know what exactly they did. RJ got his first double-double of the season. Randall put up a decent amount of points. I don't know the points off the top of my head, but they were there.
On 18 each, something in that.
Yeah, it was a decent performance, but they need somebody else to score. You know what I mean? They're not going to put up 30 each, and even if they do, that's only 60 points, and then the rest of the team does nothing. You need another guy to hit some shots, and there was nobody today, and that's why they lost. So and defense, and whatever.
Yeah, no, it sucks, but the Knicks wins this season. You got Fournier playing big. He would be decent. Alec Burks making shots. He was there. When you don't get the consistency, you're going to get the L's, and that's what happened. That's what happened to the Knicks. And I think this is going to be a really fun trade deadline because it's going to be a weird deadline to look at the Eastern Conference. All these teams that theoretically can go win a championship from the East. Mm-hmm. To me, a lot of teams that I think no one's talking about that's going to really be a problem. Who do you think? There's a team in the East that I'm like, this team is going to start to kick some ass.
The Heat?
Yeah.
You said it last episode. That's why.
Fuck. They've done all this without Bam, and to get him back, they have shooters. They have veteran and Lowry who can run the point.
Coach.
They got the coach. They got Jimmy Butler. I mean, this is the team. I'm like, they've got
just
the
in the
ultimate,
finals too. Yeah.
They've got the KD guy and PJ Tucker, who was a nightmare. And I mean that I wish he was on my team, and he just is a nightmare for Durant. Durant in that Bucks game still put up 50, but it was like he makes them work. And it's just he was like Durant was right. I make it out like he's the Durant stopper at 49 points. Anyway, but
that's like Iguodala in the finals when he finals MVP. LeBron still scoring 39 points in a game,
right, but he played good defense.
Yeah, he did.
It's all relative. But yeah, man, that team, when they get Bam back and put it all together, the Heat are going to be really, really scary. But I'm just curious, the deadline, the Nets and Knicks. I can speak from the net perspective. There's a trade in there. Remember, they got those trade exceptions when they did not sign Spencer Dinwiddie and dealt him away. What will they do? Is this the development of Cam Thomas and Day'Ron Sharpe and Nick Claxton? Because the young guys are really getting a shot here. Does that help Sean Marks? Because, look how great some of these younger kids have played. Now we have more assets that we didn't think we did have. Maybe that's something where you could make a deal and get a veteran back
showcase
to a team, right? That's like, oh, wow, yeah, you know what? Cam Thomas, he looked pretty good there. I'm like, yeah, let's get him. You can take our expiring veteran, and you're trying to go out and win a championship. I don't know. Be kind of interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and we talk about it every episode now, the second one in a row. Ben Simmons is still that random, carrot that's out there, man. And I don't understand what's happening. Ben Simmons, they call Ben Simmons bluff, and he's like, I'm not playing. He's like, Crazy. I'll pay the fines. I don't care. I'm not playing. And it's bizarre, man. It is bizarre what the Sixers are doing. They're hurting their franchise by not trading him. Just trade him for anything. Even if you got Buddy Hield, just get a player. It's such a waste of a hole in your salary cap, like the Nets with Kyrie. It's just such a freaking anchor around that franchise. You're like, what are you? And it's not like Kyrie. It's Ben Simmons will play. He just doesn't want to play for you anymore. And he told him in the summertime. I don't get it. I just
think about what they did to get him, how much he's been a part of this franchise, how good they are when he's there. To then just be like all of that tanking work, all of that process bullshit that it turns into Buddy Hield. I think for real, if you're the GM, you're Daryl Morey over there who wasn't part of the process, but you can't. You just have to wait because you just have to see. And now there was a report out today that James Harden is not so he's looking at he will see his options in the summer. That was a report that was out. Maybe they're holding out hope where they go, all right, you heard me say this. I didn't want to trade Ben Simmons for Kyrie straight up, but I will say if James Harden's going to walk and he wants to go to Philly and Philly's like, we can only pull this off if we deal Simmons. This is the time to make the trade. They're waiting. I think they see the long-term goal there. So they can't just deal him off because they know it's just bigger for them that there could be something. And maybe it is James Harden that they're waiting for. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's crazy, man. Can you imagine that though? The Nets go into next season without Kyrie, who still is not getting vaccinated, and then Harden turns into Ben Simmons. it's just, you got to win, man. You got to win that title, man. You got to get that in. I've been saying that.
Well, I just hope Kyrie's back next. I hope Kyrie. Well, first of all, let me say this. I hope from a health standpoint that there's no mandate because we're just in a great place. Like, from that standpoint, I hope New York is just open. Right. We get through the summer and this is in a great place where that's not a rule because things are going so well and nobody's passing around COVID.
Right. Well, the new mayor, Eric Adams, seems more open to pushing people to go back to work. He's been saying like, let's get back to work. We want people in the offices. And like, it's almost like enough, but I don't want to go down that road. But, if he has that mindset, then that might be good for people like Kyrie or unvaccinated people to get back into the workplace and get back into games and performers and things like that. So we'll see. And the people who booed Eric Adams at the Garden today, you're like, come on, man. He's been in office for 2 weeks. Like, what are we doing here? It's just, anyway, that's another story.
Well, I don't get this. Insane. This doesn't make sense to me. Now this is a complete 180, but kind of spinning off what you had. I don't get why SNL is so centered on New York and they don't do like, I know you tweeted out the video.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Skit, but nobody, but it's such a small percentage of the country. I feel like if I'm from another place and I'm watching this, I'm like, I don't get it. I'm just critiquing SNL, which makes no sense for anything else we've talked about. But the idea that they get so New York centric, they forget about all the other places. And I know everybody listening is going to be like, it's because New York's #1 city in the world. We're the greatest. Okay.
Well, it's the biggest,
but
city
then it's like
country,
you also want to have ratings with other people. I don't know,
right? But it's also a character, like remember back in the day, Will Ferrell used to do the Janet Reno thing, so it's all about.
But that's
characters.
A national person. That's a national person.
I get it.
Breaking down
nobody's. What was she? Was she the Secretary of State? What was she? I forgot what she was.
I don't know either. And now we're gonna look like idiots.
Yeah. so now I have to look it up. But it's just because it's not a character. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And so I just feel like he's such a character, and he's gonna be that person who's gonna as I try to read Janet Reno's Wikipedia page. But it's just one of those things. He's just such a character. So and if you watch his videos, they're borderline hilarious. Where he's like, "I'm outside. Let's go. I'm salting my stoop." I'm just like, yo, you're the man. Like, he's just so funny. It's like unintentionally funny. So that's why it was so funny for him to be like the swaggerless existence.
I know. I'm just saying that bothered me a little bit. That if they get, this is not just something they do once in a while. They'll do all these kind of New Yorky bits, and it's just, I don't know. I think they need. If I was a consultant for SNL, that's what I would say.
Chris Redd did it, by the way. The actor Chris Redd, he was great, by the way. I'm from SNL. But so anyway, so now that we talked about Janet Reno on Bad Weather Fans,
here, I'll give you a quote from Kyrie Irving in the post game. In a very long response about vaccination, Kyrie Irving said, "Kevin Durant's injury will not sway his decision to get vaccinated." Irving added he's made his decision about vaccinations and he's sticking to it. But I just wanted to add that in there.
Got it. So, yeah. Well,
see, maybe if the Nets move down a couple seats, it's not a bad thing because they get more Kyrie on the road. Like, if you were in a 6, I mean, I don't know. I rather have home court. And this discussion's been brought up because it's like, let's say the Nets split at home or they don't go 2-0 when they had home court. I think going on the road normally is like, crap. But you're like, we're going on the road and we get this guy back, as opposed to going home and losing a player. I think mentally it makes going on the road not as daunting because you're bringing in one of your top players on the roster.
Right. You're going west, but you're going west with Kyrie Irving. You're not going west with Patty Mills. It's kind of like, which is not a shot at Patty Mills.
No, of course not.
Let's the level here. And Janet Reno was the Attorney General, by the way.
Yes, the Attorney General. I knew that.
And do you know who the current Attorney General is?
Can we just not do this?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the point of my it's all about characters. That's my point. Anyway, so now we're done with that.
Stop it. Just stop. Stop. It's like, people can name the second baseman for the Yankees, but they can't say who their Congress members are. Like, let's not do that. All right, this is our podcast. We don't have to show how dumb we look.
So anyway, really quick back to the Cam Reddish trade. So this guy who follows me, Jason Cavell, Cavell, he's the assistant coach at La Academia Partnership Charter. And he DM'd me after he's not a Knicks fan, he's not a Nets fan, but he's just a big basketball guy. And he's in the Pennsylvania where Cam Reddish is from. And he DM'd me, he's like, well, Reddish to the Knicks, that's I just got to DM him giving me permission to read him. And he goes, it's a boss move. I said, I'm in shock, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. He goes, no, I don't have a team. I love this move, though. He has star upside, but probably will never get to that level, but will still help. He's a little hot and cold, but he's from where I'm from, so it's kind of cool. So then he goes on. He goes, all around good. It was a good move. He's all around good at all of his, what he does, shooting, everything.
Right.
What was a killer in high school, all American. My biggest fear is him playing on the big stage at the Garden because he tends to go away in the big moments. He has the stigma, but it's a great opportunity for him to prove people wrong. And he works his ass off, and he's a great person. I know people who know him. My mom's friend is his aunt, and one of my boys trains with him. And he comes from a good family. He went to Westtown High School, which is a powerhouse high school in Pennsylvania. They currently have the number one player in the country in the 2022 class going to Duke. So that's some insight from somebody in Pennsylvania who's in the basketball circles about Cam Reddish. So
yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. He hasn't lived up to the potential yet, and we'll see what happens now that he's at the world's most famous arena. Does he
on the biggest stage?
The biggest stage? I mean, but it is, and Knick fans, if he's great, we'll love him. Obviously, I know how this works. If he's amazing, they will show him and give him his flowers and say how awesome he's been. So this is like you just read, an amazing opportunity. We'll see what comes from it. We'll see where it goes. But for the Knicks, this is not a huge gamble. They give up nothing. Happens.
Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Knox was not playing at all.
Yeah. At all.
He played a little bit when he had to out of necessity because of all the COVID issues, and they just had no choice but to put him in the roster.
Right.
I'm curious from Atlanta's perspective. I'm just curious to see Kevin Knox play basketball. I'm sure
that he didn't play on Saturday against the Knicks. He didn't play at all.
That was quick. I mean, I get it, but just they're gonna have to give him a chance. I mean,
they have to. Yeah. Why do you trade for him?
We got to at least see it. Because he's so young, and we talked about this before. It's like, and then Cam Reddish is the same thing, but in the Knicks direction, it's almost like when guys are still in their rookie deals and you make the trade for them, it's almost like their second draft night because they're getting a second chance and opportunity. Nets made this kind of trade when they dealt for D'Angelo Russell. He's on the Lakers. He's nothing, all the issues there, young and mature. We know about the video thing, and then boom, he comes to the Nets. He falls in line with the organization's culture, which I know will bug you, but he revitalized his career and then got a max kind of contract, got to the Warriors. Now he's in Minnesota. Point I'm trying to make is it's a second chance. And that's what these guys are getting when they make these trades. Change of scenery, still very young. Cam comes to the Knicks. He's motivated. He wants to prove everybody wrong. He's got the talent. Boom. Knicks have themselves a player.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times a second chance player doesn't work out, but I feel like it's not like Kevin Knox getting a second chance. It's not like Dennis Smith Jr. getting a second chance. It's not like, every other player that went to the Knicks to get a second chance that didn't work out over the last 10 years. But it's more like Cam Reddish just didn't see eye to eye with the organization, and they didn't want to pay him, because they paid Gallinari and Bogdanovich, and they just were like, you know what? We can't take on another $90 million contract right now. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get anything that we can. We got a quote unquote first round pick and an ex lottery pick, and they're just going to try to do that. I think they did a poor job of reading their fan base. Like if you're going to dump Cam Reddish, you can't dump him to the Knicks, and that's why the fans are so pissed. You can't,
out of all the teams,
right? Like out of all the teams, the team that you just beat the crap out of in the first round, you have this little mini rivalry with the fans online. And you know what I mean? It's just, you can't do that. You trade him to Minnesota. You know what I mean? Trade him somewhere where it's like, all right, well, we got to pick whatever. They'll be pissed, but it's not like the Knicks and we got Kevin Knox. No. Like the guy stinks. Kind of a. I get it.
It's a double whammy where he's dealt, and then you see where he's going, and it's just a double loss. That feels bad, sure. And that ultimately, if the trade they get a pick and the guy works out, who knows? Who knows where things will move in the future, or Reddish doesn't play well. Knox all of a sudden is revitalized. But from a standpoint of just in the moment, feeling it and seeing it and seeing him on the Knicks, if he plays well in New York will just be so hard to swallow for Hawk fans. That'll be so difficult to watch, to see him go out there every night and have good games. Oh, it'd be crushing.
No, it would be. And like, I was trying to look up the actual protections on that pick, but that pick is like super heavily protected. It's top 19 protected. And then if it's in the top 19, then it goes to the next year, and then it goes to like the next 5 years or something like that. And if it doesn't become a first round pick in those 5 years or 4 years, it becomes a second round pick. So it's essentially a nothing pick, because the Hornets are going to be in the playoffs this year, so it's not going to be this year. It's going to be a first round pick. And are they going to be, bottom of the,
probably not going to be, they're trending.
Yeah, so it's a tough, it's a tough trade for the Hawks fans, but I'm not crying for them. I'll tell you that right now.
You see how difficult it is to build a franchise. Like we talked about how we were praising Atlanta last season when we talked about Bogdanovich and Gallinari, and then for them they've got the young core with Trae Young, and John Collins and Clint Capella, and we're talking about making these deals, and you just see how fast and difficult it is. Now you're like, oh my goodness gracious, we paid Danilo Gallinari all this money, and we're stuck in this contract now. Like you were so excited for Evan Fournier, and it's still early, but you're like, oh my
some
goodness,
big games. He won some games.
We're stuck. Yeah. But if you're like, you see that it's you're stuck in these contracts, it's just impossible. That's why I watch these Nets, and I'm like, it's impossible to win a championship. I'm convinced it's just never going to happen.
It's true. It's really
so
hard.
Tough.
It is.
You even get Durant, Kyrie, and Harden. The guys have played it 10 times. It's not going to happen. It's just going to be. There's going to be some form of disappointment down my way, and it's just inevitable. Like I just know there's inevitably going to be something that really disappoints me, and then we're just going to be like, all right, on to next. Like inevitably something's going to happen to the Nets, and it won't work. And I'm just convinced of it at this point.
It may have just happened, so that's what's scary to you. And now it's like you're watching Harden every time he falls. You're like, because if he goes down, it's over. It's over. It's done. That's it. You know what I mean? Like you're not winning a title. It's if he goes down and then, like for seriously, I'm not wishing that, but if he does, then it's done, because
no, they can't sustain these injuries. I mean, Durant
can't have Kyrie half the time and just Durant. Yeah, no,
it's not. Well, we saw last year in the playoffs with no Kyrie. That's the other thing I want to address on this. People going like, oh, they need time to get together and jive. Yeah, I would take that. Trust me, I'd rather the three of them are out there playing all the time. But that was the big concern going to the playoffs last year for the Nets. Oh, these guys didn't see any time together. Then they beat the Celtics in 5, and it was just a walkthrough. It was a sleepy series. Yeah. Then they get to the Bucks. Harden gets down in the first 10 seconds of that game. The Nets beat the crap out of Milwaukee with Durant and Kyrie. Then Kyrie goes down, and it's just Durant by himself with Harden playing on a hamstring, barely moving, and they almost beat the Bucks. So this idea that they need to all be together to get into the playoffs or they won't have the chemistry, I don't buy that. They have to be healthy when it matters, and they all have to be at full strength when it matters. That's the key for the Nets to win a championship. Be together when it matters. Right. If Kyrie's in the Bucks series, I have faith that game 7 where they barely win, they probably win the game. I mean, they're probably in that. It's just inevitably it's like, what will happen? Will Kyrie do this? Will Harden get hurt? Will the vaccination stance? There's so many things whirling around, and that's what makes this regular season even more annoying, because I know I'm just wasting my time as a Nets fan until I get to the big disappointment. But in the meantime, now I have to watch losses all the time, and it's unfortunately I'm getting too used to it. I'm getting used to losing now. I'm getting used to losing, right? The Nets are 4-8 in the last 12, or 3 and whatever it is. They're losing basketball games left and right. I'm getting too used to it, Alex. I don't want to be like, oh, well, gave it a good effort. Went into Cleveland, couldn't win. Cavs are a good team. They're an improved team, but we just couldn't get it done. It's like, shit, I'm used to winning these games, and I'm annoyed by it.
No, you should be. But at least you get to watch, ex-All-Stars like Paul Millsap and Blake Griffin. You get to see guys like that. I'm trying to give you the bright side. There is no bright side, man. It sucks. And like Blake, I keep saying, you have the 2K.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he fell.
Millsap, not good, but
whatever.
But Blake,
Aldridge has been a steal. Aldridge has been
solid. Aldridge has been fine. The problem with Aldridge is on defense, these teams pick and roll him to death, and it's an issue. Oh yeah. Oh, all the time. It's pick and roll. Put him on the guard.
Just slow.
No
right?
chance.
Yeah.
That's
slow.
where they missed Claxton today. Is those switches where he can guard he can guard guards, and his presence was missed. And the Nets episode 100, anxiety for the Nets.
And real quick, the protections. I found Bobby Marks' tweet from back on draft night. The protections for that Knicks pick that was traded to the Hawks in the Cam Reddish deal is 1 to 18 protected. I think it's 19, so that might have been a mistake on draft night. 1 to 19, 2022, 2023, 1 to 16, 2024, 1 to 14, 2025, 1 to 14. And if they don't get a pick, then it turns into 2 future seconds. So in 2026, so it's just, or they're in 2025. Either way, that's, it's not as far away as it seems because we're in 2022 now.
I know,
it's
it's
wild.
crazy.
But still, that's just down the road. And for the number 10 pick in the draft, that was part of the Luka trade. It's kind of tough to swallow as a Hawks fan. And, but I'm not crying for them. I'll put it that way, and so it is what it is. We of course have our Dolan J Trump sponsored trivia. Excuse me. Jersey number trivia. I
think every week I somehow butcher that. I just can never. It's a lot to say, like Dolan J Trump. Jersey number trivia. Maybe it's not that difficult. Maybe I should just focus better and I'd actually get that right. And then, of course, we have the poll question that you have. And I have a Kristaps Porzingis video, this Latvia video I have to show you. It's not of him, but when I was
getting his ass kicked again at a bar or no?
No.
Okay.
When one of my favorite guests I ever booked was, did you ever hear the song, the Kristaps Porzingis rap?
Oh, yeah. Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, I'm good friends with the rapper.
Boomer and Carton or Boomer and Gio, whichever one it was at the time, they play it all the time.
Yeah. So I found him and we had the rapper come on, and then they made this video.
On which one? On
Boomer and no, not Boomer. Gio and Jones.
On your show, when you produced it. Gio and Jones. I didn't know if it was Moose and Taz or whatever.
It was Greg and Brian, and they took cardboard cutouts of Greg and Brian and brought them to Latvia and was like hanging out. I have to show you this thing, and it's the rappers that did that song. Remind me, I want to show you.
They should have gotten you too. Why didn't they get you? You were producing Gio's show. Then why couldn't you be the one that was part of the cutout?
Because when you're a producer, you get all the work, all the stress, and none of the glory.
Yeah, you get to shake somebody's hand every now and then, though, right? You get to talk to Karl Malone every now and then.
Right, exactly. Every now and then, you get to say. I always said the best part of producing was telling people the job you did. Like, that's really cool.
So
and then
cool.
you get into it, and it's like, I mean, it's fine. All right, it's a job.
No,
people
it's a good job. It's a stepping stone job. If you get, that's just what
I don't want to bad rep. I'm going down a rabbit hole. I feel like I'm talking like with my therapist or something. Anyway, I want to say
you can pay me $20 if you want that. So.
I just want to say we'll show you the video. Anyway, you got a poll question for us, and then we got the jersey number. That was a lot of shit from me. Sorry, everybody.
We went from Knicks, Nets to Janet Reno to to producing. I need Kristaps Porzingis rap. Yeah.
I want to spin off just to talk about this SNL thing. Really bothering me.
Patreon soon. We'll do a Patreon soon. We will. I promise. But okay. So I did this poll question quickly when we were starting. I realized I forgot to do a poll question, and I kind of messed up. So you'll hear it now, Mike. So I said, Knicks fans, are you worried about today's loss to the Hornets? Comment why. Yes, no, or P. The letter P.
Yes, no, or P. So how did the voting go? Now I
accidentally put the letter P as a selection. So of course,
it won. Of course,
9.8% people voted for that.
Well, this is fun. I'm excited to hear this now.
Yes, no, or P. What do you think won?
I looked. Sorry, okay. No one, but that was going to be my guess anyway. I had to just see the P. I'm retweeting this.
So 61.1% of the people said no. 29.1% said yes, and 9.8% said the letter P. So thanks for that, guys. Let's see some shout outs. We have our boy Coonies. We mentioned him often on the podcast. Great listener and great guy as well. At Kunal, Kunal __, maybe 2 or 3 underscores. I'm not sure, but you'll check it out. Wouldn't say worried because we've seen this before. More frustrated with Tibbs over reliance on rotations that don't have it going. But I'm not about to weigh a single game more than the progress we made the last 3-4 weeks. P isn't for our age bracket, Alex, whatever it means.
Right. Like next level. P.
Then we have our boy RJ Felton. He's at RJ Felton 1. As constructed, they are a 500 team in the East. The point is to stay healthy and keep getting better in the hopes of getting that elusive star to compete for a title. Let's see. A couple other people. David. He's at David _ Ace 31. Shit happens. Just got to brush it off and focus on the next one. I like that. Good guy. I like that. Just deal with the next game. What's next? Let's see. We have 40 the Sensei at _4D DEE. Definitely not worried, but definitely ain't P. We have so we have Radimus. He's at Bulletproof, but like 2 zeros instead of O's _love LUV. Why are you doing this to yourself? I don't know. I'm just asking a poll question, so that's why I'm doing that for the podcast. Let's see. Oh, the legend, Big Zoo, at Ed Arzuman, at Zoobeard77. He filled in for me, big producer on WFAN. They got to be better in games like this, but I'm not worried. They've been this team all year. So that's a very good point.
I like it.
What?
I said I liked it.
You liked it? Oh, you liked
literally liked it. Give it a little heart.
That's very nice. Let's see. Okay, one more. We have Josh B. He's at Josh X _ More concerned about what they're going to do about our point guard situation. Games like today give us a glimpse of what the playoffs will be like. If we make it and don't trade for an actual point guard, no, I'm not counting Rose or Kemba to be available. No, IQ isn't a point guard. So we kind of knew what I was going to say because Derrick Rose is that guy that's coming. You know, he's going to come back eventually. You know, you would think. And well, we hope, and we think Kemba is going to come back eventually, but we don't know. So I'm more confident that Rose will be back than Kemba because of Kemba's situation with the coaching staff. So I really do think if we had a guy like Rose today, they wouldn't have gotten smacked like they did today. They need somebody who can penetrate. They need somebody who can run the offenses, that can calm the team down, a veteran, that like a real like former MVP, like somebody who's got that MVP mind that can be like, guys, like, relax, like, you know, we got this. And that's why Rose was such a big part of the team last year. And why I always said he might be the most important player on the team. And yeah, they're winning some games without him because they're talented and they can beat some bad teams and even good teams on some certain nights when guys get hot. But they really need Derrick Rose, and they really do, or somebody else, a point guard.
Well, I think that's interesting because now Durant's another story, but for the Nets, like adding Joe Harris, or for the Knicks, adding Derrick Rose, you know, will feel like an addition because they've been gone for so long because they haven't been there. So it feels like a mid-season acquisition for the Nets. Joe Harris has only played in a third of their games or something like that. So him coming back will feel like, whoa, the Nets just added one of the top 3-point shooters in the NBA to their roster. The stat, like I'm making this about the Nets, but I used the nice Knicks point for the turn into it. The Nets were first in the NBA in 3-point shooting when Joe Harris was on the team. They fell to 29th. Like,
wow.
I'm saying it's not all Joe, but it's a big part of it. It's a huge
he missed
part
that
of
open 3 in the playoffs when they lost that game. You know, why he couldn't have been more open, and it makes that. All right,
you just okay. Now you're just
not doing anything. I'm expanding on your point. I'm not trolling. I'm expanding on your point.
No, I was DMing with a good Nick fan, the friend on Twitter. I was having this conversation, and he was going like, "Oh, Joe sucks. I don't know if it matters." I'm like, he missed all those shots in the playoffs. I was like, yeah, I realized. I was like, I remember.
Yeah. No, I know.
Trust me, I remember those misses well.
Yeah. No, it is what it is. So that's the poll question. You want to go to jersey number trivia?
Yeah, you go first. You want me to go first? By the
Dolan J. Trump.
Yeah, he's got a lot of non-Nick apparel now. He looks like he's expanded.
A lot of t-shirt tweets at Dolan _J_ Trump. So if you want to buy a t-shirt, you just follow him. This is jersey number trivia. So we used to do every episode 22, 23. We'd pick a 23 on each team and ask each other questions about it. But now we're at episode 100. Actually, we can reset 100 now. We don't need Dolan J. Trump anymore. Actually,
wow, you're right. Number 1.
We can reset. We don't need him anymore.
00.
Number 0.
We could.
Who's number 00 on the net? No, Ennis Cantor Freedom. Actually,
yeah. Well, he was just Ennis Cantor then.
Yeah, and can you name another one? Actually, number 0 for the Knicks. He played with the Cavs when LeBron was really young.
Brendan Hayward.
Larry Hughes. See, that was I can't give you any more clues because that was.
I don't think Hayward was on the Knicks. That was a bad guess.
That's a bad guess. Okay, so I'll go first for you. How about that?
Okay.
So for the Nets, he wore number 34 during the 2010-2011 season, his only year in the Garden State, which is New Jersey, by the way.
Yes. Okay. So very end, number 34, only 1 year. Okay.
He played for 7 teams during his 10-year career: Dallas, Golden State, Houston, Memphis, Phoenix, Boston and the Nets.
I can see his face.
Okay. That's not his name.
Okay.
He was acquired by the Nets alongside Dan Gazarik for Troy Murphy and a future second-round pick that turned into Draymond Green.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
That is.
I still don't know.
And you can't even kill the Nets because Draymond Green was like one of the last picks.
No. It's a second round pick. Well, that's the point though about these second round picks. You do never know.
Yeah,
you get him right. Mitchell Robinson was a second round pick. I mean,
Isaiah Thomas,
Kessler Edwards was the 44th pick in the draft, and he's getting significant minutes.
Yeah,
it looks like
these guys can play.
Anyway,
Bruce McBride, maybe, who knows? Anyway, he was the eighth overall pick in the 2007 draft by the Charlotte Bobcats after attending the same university as Antoine Jameson and Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah, I can see. I know who it is. I just can't. I haven't been able to get there. All right, continue. Is that
Last clue. He only appeared in 16 games for the Nets, but had his most productive years in Dallas and Phoenix as a reserve big man.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm not even going to play around, but I know I can see it.
I think Dallas is probably, if you think Dallas, that's probably your best bet.
Yeah, my brain. So, okay. Reserve big man, Dallas, 8th pick. Who is it? This is really
Brandon Wright.
Yep. I have a face in my head right now, and I have to see this.
You have to see the face in your head?
I have to see it on the internet. Yep. I knew who it was. I got it right. In my brain, I had it right.
Yeah.
This is the person. I was like, I could see his face, but I had no idea the name. No shot.
That was your P. That was your P selection.
I promise you that the face that I thought of is the face that I'm looking at.
I believe you. I'm
going to give myself the answer. I got it right today. Thanks, Dolan.
It was very next level P. Like that was your, like I said, the P selection.
So you got like 2 questions here. Ready for this?
Oh God.
And then I came back. I was like, wow, that's rough. Okay. And then he said, okay, I'll add this clue.
Okay. Let's go.
So he wore number 1 during the 2014-2015 season, his only season in New York.
Number 1, 2014, 2015. That's number 1's like a number you should know. So, but yeah, go ahead. Next. I don't know yet.
With the Knicks, he started 9 of 16 games he appeared in and averaged just under 15 points at the shooting guard position. A lot of points.
15 points. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, I know.
Number 1, a point guard.
He really does not give you much here.
No,
it's almost
because he knows
are almost done.
I get them. Yeah, no, it's just number 1, 14, 15. So that was lean mellow years. Number 1.
He played for Houston, Minnesota, Philly during his 3-year career after coming to the U.S. from overseas.
Alexei Shved?
Yep.
All right. There we go.
Good job. Add this clue. He signed as a free agent with the T-Wolves in 2012 at the age of 24. He was acquired for Pablo Prigioni.
Yeah,
good job.
That was a tank year because Alexei Shved has a couple videos, a couple bloopers that will last a lifetime with the Knicks. He had a pass and it was in Detroit, I believe, had a pass and he went to throw it to the 3-point line and he threw it to like the 20th row. And it's just, even Clyde was like, whoa, Clyde is like sarcastic, like kind of like, what the hell are you doing, bro? In only way Clyde can. So yeah. No, see, I got
that's good. I was like, I had no idea. That
thing.
one I had no clue. I should have gotten Brandon right.
International, that gave it away. That's what it clicked for me.
Yeah,
the international thing.
I haven't. So again, somebody has to go back and see how we've done on these because we've probably done with Dolan J probably like 40.
We need like Coonies or like Bobby B or Jamaican Paulie, some of our best listeners.
Right.
We need them to like go back and
right. In your free time, just go listen to everything we've ever done and let us know. You got nothing going on. Well, I know
build some AI and like listen to our and just a system that could just source through all of our podcasts.
Don't worry about your jobs, your life, your family. Just listen back to us and let us know.
The last 10 minutes of the show, every episode. You can
That's fair. It's still tough to find. That would take hours.
Yeah, it would be. And plus, you got to get a pen and paper. You got to write it down. Or
you could do it on you could do it on you could do it on a Word doc.
Yeah, you
could. Google.
You could. Yeah,
auto
save so you can't lose it. Yeah, no, it's
fine. You got to get a pen. Oh man, I got to get a pen and paper. But now
maybe Mo Brown will do it. our boy Mo Brown, one of our listeners, he just got a job at Twitch. He said so. Maybe he's the techie guy that can do it for us. So
all right. Well, if you
shout out
built
to him.
some sort of database or some sort of technology, then do it. But please don't waste your time. All right. This has been Bad Weather Fans, episode number 100. Bad night for both of us, or day. Knicks get their ass kicked against the Hornets in the Madison Square Garden, while the Nets go up 4 with about 7 minutes left. Can't hold the Cavs, who were just excellent down the end towards the end of the game. The Nets were bad, and the Eastern Conference standings all mumble jumbled together. Knicks get Cam Reddish. Nets lose Kevin Durant for 4 to 6 weeks. And I'll tell you, we've done 100 episodes, Alex, and we've learned that anything is possible. There's still no titles between the two of us during this time.
Nope.
Hopefully there will be. I'm guessing like episode 142 is like Mike Talks Championship. No, that would be too many. Be episode 1, it'd be like 121.
Because they're going to sweep
Mike
them right in the finals.
title.
They're going to sweep them in the finals. So you got to save a week or 2 weeks, right?
Just get me there, man. Get me there.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
get
Alex. Good stuff as always, guys. Don't forget, you can find this podcast on YouTube. Watch the video. We love when you tweet a photo of it and we can see it. We will retweet that. Follow Alex on Twitter at Nick Central. Mike Delivers Pod. Get this podcast where all podcasts are found. Knicks losers, Nets losers. Alex, we'll see you for 101.
Right. You're not a loser though, Mike. Okay. You said Knicks losers, Nets losers. So I had to someone's a winner. You're a winner. Okay.
I'm going to awkwardly let that end there. As you just end, you're not a loser. See you, Alex.